North Korea's secret army of fake tech workers inside American companies.
Now to a fraud scheme being compared to something from a James Bond movie involving big money and a threat to national security.
He passed the interview. He had a polished resume, solid references, a confident, professional demeanor on the video call.
Living in a spy movie, like something out of James Bond, man.
The hiring manager had no reason to doubt him. He was hired as a remote software engineer. He showed up to virtual meetings. He completed his assignments. He collected his paycheck every 2 weeks, like any other employee. For months, nobody at the company suspected a thing. Then the FBI knocked.
4 North Korean agents are accused of pretending to be IT workers here in the U.S. so they could infiltrate American companies and steal money to fund North Korean weapons programs.
The employee wasn't who he said he was. He wasn't even where he said he was. He was part of a coordinated network, operating on behalf of the government of North Korea. And his salary, the one your company was paying directly into a U.S. bank account, was being funneled back to fund a weapons program under international sanctions. This isn't a movie plot. This is happening right now, inside American companies, today. Welcome to the Exposure Bureau. Today we're covering one of the strangest and most quietly alarming fraud schemes operating inside corporate America right now. This isn't about a single scam artist or a small criminal network. This is a state-sponsored operation using fake identities, stolen documents, and remote work culture to embed operatives directly inside U.S. companies. And the FBI has been issuing warnings about it for years. To understand how this scheme works, you have to understand the environment that made it possible. The shift to remote work changed how companies hire. Geographic location stopped mattering. Video interviews replaced in-person meetings. Identity verification in many companies became a formality rather than a rigorous process. This created an opportunity. North Korean operatives trained specifically in IT skills, often with genuine technical competence, began applying for remote positions at U.S. companies using fabricated identities, stolen social security numbers, fake names, manufactured work histories. In many cases, U.S.-based facilitators, sometimes unaware of who they were actually helping, would receive company laptops at their own homes and grant remote access to the actual operatives located overseas, often in North Korea or staging locations in China and Russia. The hiring company believed they had hired an American remote worker. In reality, they had hired an agent of a sanctioned foreign government. The operation served 2 purposes simultaneously. First, straightforward salary generation. These positions paid real salaries. Software engineering and IT roles in the U.S. often pay 6 figures. Multiply that by dozens, sometimes hundreds, of operatives working simultaneously across different companies under different fake identities, and the revenue becomes significant. The U.S. government estimates that this scheme has generated hundreds of millions of dollars for the North Korean regime over several years, funds that flow directly into weapons and ballistic missile development programs in direct violation of international sanctions. Second, and more alarming for the companies involved, access. Once embedded inside a company's systems, these operatives had legitimate employee-level access to internal networks, code bases, and in some cases, sensitive corporate or client data. The sophistication of this operation is what makes it remarkable. Operatives were trained to navigate American workplace culture convincingly, appropriate communication styles, familiarity with U.S. business norms, technical vocabulary that match their claimed experience level. Multiple operatives often worked under a single fabricated identity in shifts, allowing for the same employee to appear to be working at unusual hours without raising suspicion, a practice investigators later identified as a key operational pattern. This is not a handful of isolated incidents. The FBI, the Department of Justice, and the Department of the Treasury have all issued specific advisories warning U.S. companies about this exact scheme. Federal indictments have named specific facilitator networks, U.S.-based individuals who knowingly or unknowingly enabled the scheme by hosting company laptops, managing the logistics of remote access, and helping launder the resulting income. Some of these facilitators have faced significant prison sentences once their role was uncovered. Estimates from cybersecurity firms and government sources suggest that hundreds of U.S. companies, ranging from small startups to, in some documented cases, Fortune 500 firms, have unknowingly employed these operatives at some point. The financial dimension of this scheme is serious: sanctions violations, salary fraud, wire fraud. But the security dimension is what should concern every company watching this. An operative embedded inside your engineering team has access to your code base. An operative embedded inside your IT department has access to your network infrastructure. An operative with legitimate employee credentials can move through your systems without triggering the alarms designed to catch external attackers, because on paper, they aren't external. They're employees. This is the uncomfortable reality companies have had to confront. The threat isn't always trying to break in. Sometimes it's already been hired. In response to this scheme, U.S. companies have started implementing more rigorous verification processes specifically designed to catch this type of fraud. Live video verification during the hiring process, not just for the interview but at multiple points during onboarding, has become more standard in tech hiring. Some companies now require in-person identity verification for sensitive roles, even when the position itself is remote. IP address monitoring and geolocation verification for company-issued devices has become a more common security practice, flagging situations where a U.S.-based employee's device appears to be accessing systems from unexpected international locations. The FBI continues to update its public guidance as the scheme evolves and continues prosecuting both the facilitators and, where possible, identifying the broader network behind these operations. But the scheme persists because remote hiring remains convenient, because background verification remains imperfect, and because the financial incentive for the operation remains significant. Somewhere right now, a hiring manager at a U.S. company is reviewing a resume. The candidate is polished, experienced, available immediately, willing to work flexible hours. In the overwhelming majority of cases, that candidate is exactly who they say they are. But in a growing number of documented cases, they are not. They are part of a coordinated, state-sponsored operation designed to look exactly like the kind of remote employee any company would be glad to hire. The FBI has issued the warnings, the indictments have been filed, and the scheme continues because it works. This is the Exposure Bureau. Stay informed, stay skeptical. And the next time your company hires a remote employee, ask yourself, how sure are you about who's actually on the other end of that laptop?